Good evening, Queens. I'm John Stamp.
And I'm Christina Walker.
Welcome to Studio Q. Well, I gotta say, this is quite romantic watching these cuties dancing on the ice, eh? Yeah.
John, I know it's Valentine's Day, but watching you drool over some girls while I'm freezing cold is not my idea of romantic. John.
Yeah, so what do we got lined up for us this week?
We have a pretty cool feature. It's with Brandon McNamara, and he's going to be doing Dropping the Gloves with Irish.
Yeah, let's head over to Irish.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Dropping the Gloves with Irish. I'm your co-host, Dan Wallace, and I'm very pleased to introduce our new sports anchor, Brendan Irish McNamara. Happy to have you here.
Great to be here, Dan.
All right, well, let's jump right into it. I know you wanted to talk NHL this week. What's on your mind?
Well, trading deadline's coming right up. It's the biggest day of the year for all these teams in the NHL. A lot of Canadian teams have some tough decisions to make coming up.
All right, well, let's talk about the Canadian teams. In the West, first of all, Calgary, Edmonton, and Vancouver. Obviously a tough division. What are your thoughts?
Well, that Northwest division is definitely the toughest in all of hockey. They're going to have to make a decision. Edmonton, of course, looking to pick up a blue liner, probably Eric Brew out of St. Louis. Good, solid guy coming home to Edmonton. Second of all, I think Craig Conroy in Calgary, I think they got that piece they really needed there. Look for them to do something.
All right, great. Looking at the East, big story being the Montreal Canadiens. They had a great first half of the season, as you know, but as of late, they've really been slipping. So what do you think Bob Gainey's looking at 2 weeks from the trade deadline?
Well, with Sergei Samsonov just sitting up in the press box and eating popcorn, they really need to do something about that $3.5 million they're paying him. Look for them to try to dish him off and pick up some more scoring potential up front.
Okay, moving into the Battle of Ontario, we had a big rivalry game, as you know, last Saturday night.
How'd that work out for you, Dan? Yeah, okay.
Moving on. Not so well. But you can't knock the Ottawa Senators. They're one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. What are your thoughts on their moves going into the trade deadline?
I hate to admit it, but Dan, you're right. They are one of the hotter teams in the league right now. With Jason Spezza and Mike Fisher coming back in the lineup, they're about ready to make a run into the playoffs. Also, they picked up Mike Comrie a couple weeks back, so he's a pivotal piece to that playoff picture. So now, you know, they might even be able to win the first round and then lose in the second round, which would be nice for you guys.
Okay, well, let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs. They have to make the playoffs this year. You know, they're right on the edge. They have been playing well lately, but what is John Ferguson looking at going into the trade deadline?
Well, the boys in blue are definitely on the bubble. There's no question about that. And the big thing this year, it's going to be one of the biggest years, I think, for the future of their club. They're going to have to decide whether they want to stick with Captain Matt Sundin and Darcy Tucker, one of their leading scorers this year, or whether they want to move in a new direction and deal those guys for some younger prospects. So I personally hope that they keep them both, because I think if they can get into the playoffs, they got a team with a lot of heart, and that's going to do some things for them in the playoffs.
All right, great. One wild card that whose name has been thrown around a lot lately is Peter Forsberg. Do you think anyone's going to take a gamble on him?
Who knows? He's a proven playoff winner, but I mean, with that foot, I think you can only expect one of the top contenders, maybe the Ducks or the Sabres, to pick him up.
Okay, moving on. Let's talk varsity sports. I know you've been covering the men's varsity hockey team very closely this year. What are your thoughts on their performance?
Oh, it's a great team. They've definitely made vast improvements from last year, and they got a lot of potential going into next year. And it's a great group of guys down there, too. And I think Julie actually caught up with a couple of them at Jock Hardy. Let's see what she came up with.
Thanks, Irish. I'm here at Jock Hardy Arena with the Queen's men's hockey team, just about to take the ice for practice. With the postseason fast approaching, let's go talk to the players to see how they're gearing up for their final playoff drive. Can you tell me, how has this season been different from last year?
Well, in previous years, you kind of had your top teams, and then you had your middle teams, and then you had kind of your basement teams. But this year, it's a new parity in the league, which everybody's beating everybody. So every team's much more competitive this year, which makes the league that much more exciting. In order for us to be successful, we just basically have to outwork the other team. We got a great goaltender this year, which really helps things. But ultimately, it's our effort. I mean, we have some really hard-working guys, and it can be really frustrating on other teams.
Well, the biggest thing about our team this year is our success has come through hard work. Not being too pretty, so the biggest thing is we got to get our pucks in deep, play it simple on the different blue lines, ensuring that we don't make turnovers in the key areas, that being our blue line, their blue line, and also just tight checking defensively, everyone back check, and also we got to give our support to Ryan Gibb, our starting goaltender, because he he's turned away a lot of pucks for us, and we just got to make sure he can see them all. So it's really going to come down to tight checking and working hard in both ends of the ice.
Our strengths again would be playing our systems. You know, when we stick to our system, we're a very difficult team to play against. We can hold teams in their end for long amounts of time, and we shut them down when they get down to our end.
What would you say is your favorite part about being on the Golden Gales hockey team?
My favorite part about being on this team would have to be just hanging out with the boys. I mean, I live with a guy on the team, and a bunch more live right around the corner from me, so it's just every day hanging out with the guys and not worrying about too much else.
The best part of being a team is it's right over there, the dressing room. There's 27 guys on this team, all different years, all different programs. So every year you meet new people, make best friends every year, and that's the main thing. It's an escape from school. We come to the rink and talk about everything but school, and it seems to help us get us through the year. And also we always are the first guys to celebrate the wins together over a couple of drinks.
Well, there you have it. The team has had some ups and downs over the course of this season, but nonetheless are heading in strong to the playoffs, so let's support them all the way. This is Julie Stewart-Binks for Studio Q signing off. Back to you, Irish.
Thanks a lot for that, Julie. Heck of a shot there, too.
Yeah, not too bad. Hey, well, that just about does it for this week. You got any final thoughts, Irish?
Well, I just hope my Leafs get to meet your Sens in the playoffs one more time so we can kick your butts again.
Well, you know what? The Leafs have to make the playoffs to do that.
You know what? I don't like that. Let's drop the gloves.
On that note, we'll be right back.